All right, so thank you very much. I appreciate very much you taking the time to be here. Obviously, we're talking to Cloudtoken CTO, Ronald Lai. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly, Ronald?
Yeah, I.
Fantastic. Okay, well, listen, I want to congratulate you on a successful launch. I know that that just happened this month, in fact, less than a week ago. And we're here just for a few minutes to discuss some future ambitions, but also some questions that I know that you're receiving and that many others have on their minds. And so I thought we could blast through a few of those questions quickly, if you didn't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic. So first of all, everyone who is a member of Cloudtoken is very aware of Jarvis. And as I think many have heard on recordings in the past, anyone with any common sense at all knows that an AI has a limited number of people or a limited number of dollars that it could support based on blockchain market cap. And I was wondering if you could give us a ballpark. I know dollars are not the same as people, but if you could give us a ballpark on how many people you think Jarvis could support.
Okay. Basically, what we do not know the actual limit of what the number would be, but from the past experiences and also from the guidance from more experienced traders, they told us a number, and the number is about in the midst between 50 to 80 million, okay, of trading. We are way before that now, okay.
Are you
In
speaking
every
80 million USD?
yeah, per exchange actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
but
lot higher than I thought it would be.
yeah, it's about that. The it depends on which exchanges. If you were to be in BitMax, for example, it will still be substantial, but you won't really have any advantage. But if you were in the smaller exchanges, probably it won't make sense anymore.
Now, I understand that obviously you're paying for Binance keys, so you can perform your trading on the Binance platform. Do you have plans to use? Are you doing the same thing with BitMax?
We do have actually initial tests with BitMax and the rest. But the APIs that we got into BitMax itself is not very, how to say, it's not performing very well now. They're
Okay.
not getting the enough data back fast enough for the room to do a analytics and to pass it down to Jarvis, do a trade. We get API limits every probably few minutes that hinders the performance for Jarvis to actually make a trade. Plus, we could not actually grab any trade data from there. Plus, when we try to make an order, we can't win any of this. So we're still trying to actually
I
get into it.
understand.
Yeah.
That's okay. I appreciate that. Now, how are you feeling in regards to future project developments that will support a continually growing member database?
Of course, by adding more projects, actually generate the income needed to actually support the affiliate payouts. We have already in the pipeline about 2 or 3 more different projects, but this project itself needs to go through a pioneer test that we call. So the leaders itself are invited to actually participate in these projects to see the yield. If the yield is good enough, then we open up to the public.
That's wonderful. I'm glad that you seems like you're way ahead of the game.
Oh,
So the
I
next
think it's
question
the
for you,
moment.
and I hear this a little bit, our Cloudtoken, why is it not listed on CoinMarketCap or on World Coin Index or any such thing? It's obviously internal. Maybe the reason for this, and is there a tactical advantage in your long-term plans, which I know is blockchain-based payment solutions?
Okay, one thing is this, right? We do not really believe in exchanges. Exchanges is based on the supply and the demand and inflated price. What we want to make Cloudtoken to be is a price whereby it's based on performance. Okay, How much we can earn from all the projects actually is given up into a reserve wallet, which will be ratioed against the number of tokens that we issue out. So it becomes a very similar calculation to a stable coin.
I
But
understand.
instead of one-to-one, we are not really back to one-to-one.
That makes perfect sense. And it also, of course, you're not subjected then to the silliness in the market that can put artificial runs on the price of your coin.
Yep.
Quick question, while we're on that particular subject, can you just talk to CTO for a minute more? Is CTO would be a utility token, would that be correct?
CTO is a utility token in a very good sense. It's because it's what we provide to the user from as an earning, which they can redeem. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of it like a credit note that I actually give it to investors, and they can take this credit note to actually redeem for the actual crypto tokens and things like that, or goods and services which we will provide in the very near future.
And I noticed that in the application, when you choose to convert, it says ETH. Is this because CTO is built on the Ethereum blockchain?
No, it's just because it's easier for us to handle a single crypto asset than multiple. But when we have our team build up, we will have more cryptos in the reserve pool, and users can actually change it. If I'm not mistaken, there was a period of time whereby we actually enabled USDT as one of the cryptos to be changed.
I understand. Thank you. Can you share just a little bit about Global? I know that this is very early days for you. You just had your launch, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but could you just give us a little bit of your vision? I know that much of this technology, of course, is coming from your own project, Beta Systems, that you've had tremendous success with. Could you just give us maybe a glimpse of your future plans?
We are actually looking at a full ecosystem that first enables the wealth generation. So now we have actually done it through Jarvis, and soon to have second, third, and fourth projects to actually generate the wealth. Now, once we have this wealth generated, the second thing we want to do is the knowledge part. We want to actually let our members to have more knowledge about this particular blockchain business. How does it affect their lives, and how it can actually help them change their mentality of how things should be governed. And the third one is actually more on how they can actually spend their wealth now, okay? But not in the traditional sense whereby you buy a cup of coffee and things like that, but more, it's a more, how does it, disruptive way of actually spending your money and getting the rewards. So we are actually trying to work with a lot of merchants that is joining Cloudtoken as well, and they actually get or they receive in the tokens directly to provide service. So we're trying to get all these three together to form this small ecosystem in a particular place, okay, as a start, as a pioneer, and then we expand it out from there. And one of the plans that we had is to work with developers of a certain real estate to actually incorporate the whole system into that particular development, so that we can actually have it as a showcase.
So would it be similar in a sense to what WeChat has been able to very successfully do in China, where you've got such a broad range of services and opportunities to spend and to buy and to do many other things inside that ecosystem?
Yeah, I think WeChat is doing a tremendous job, and it shows us the way to that what users are capable of learning in order to change their lifestyle. And if you were to be in China, staying for China for some time, you will understand and know that even the 60, 70 uneducated housewife or selling stuff on the roadside, they would know how to use WeChat to receive payment. And that's the way things are. What we want to do is to do the same thing for CT, but globally. Instead of having to use only renminbi as the payment method.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a wonderful path to follow. They are a massive success story. So I think that's a fantastic idea. Obviously, what you're biting off here as a global solution instead of just the solution for one country is a very large undertaking.
Yeah.
Okay, so recently there was a very successful program. In fact, it continues to run successfully today called Cloudtoken. I'm not a member, so I don't have any inside information. I have not participated, but I recently had learned that USA members were excluded from participating in Cloudtoken in the future. And I was wondering if that affects your plans for CTO at all.
Number one is Cloudtoken has an identity crisis. First, they were a utility token, then they switched themselves to STO. Okay, but they are like ICO because their tokens can be bought. So if you are falling under the category of ICO and STO, you're regulated. And only sophisticated investors in the States can actually join these type of programs.
That makes sense. I understand. Thank you. And then, so you really just answered the last question for me, and that is, do you see a similar challenge for CTO in the future?
We are not going to be listed in any exchange. That's what I told you. So we are just purely a utility token. But in the States itself, we have checked with our lawyers. It is a very a thin sheet of ice that we're working on. The regulation in the States might just change. So we're trying to see how we can navigate that through the lawyers.
Well, I would consider that personally, if I was a U.S. participant, I would consider that good news because you're absolutely right. The regulations are always changing. But as the U.S. regulators catch up, I think things are improving, not degrading. So maybe the long-term plans for cloud in the U.S. could be very sunny days.
Yep, probably.
We will certainly see. So listen, that's the only questions that I have. I want to thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to be able to speak with you one-on-one.